let's move on to main topic number 4. And our fourth main topic today gets submitted to us by Jimothy, who writes, "Hello, John. Well, it's official. Oh, today's the day of delayed movies. Godzilla vs. Kong has now been delayed. Not 2 weeks, not 6 weeks, but almost 6 months to May 21st, 2021, after Warner Brothers pushed Matrix 4 to April 1st, 2022, which, by the way, is about a year. Almost a year push for Matrix 4 to April 1st, 2022. Do you think this release will be better for Godzilla vs. Kong compared to its original November 20th, 2020 release date? Thanks." All right, so for those of you at home who are keeping score, we had Tenet has moved by 2 weeks. We have Wonder Woman that has moved by 6 weeks. Now we've got Godzilla moving by almost 6 months. And then, as auxiliary to that, we got Matrix 4 that's moved almost a year into 2021. Let's look for a second at Godzilla vs. Kong, though. Godzilla vs. Kong was set for a November release date. Do I think that this May release date in 2020 could be better for it? Absolutely not. I thought there was a remarkable opportunity for a Godzilla vs. Kong coming out in November. Number one, November is turned into a really good movie-going month. Number two, regardless of what happens with Tenet and whatever, we're talking about November, right? So they would probably be right on the cusp, not only of the theaters being opened back up again, but that also gives a good amount of time for a lot of people who were going to be slow to come back to the movie theaters, probably would have been back in the movie theaters by November. It was a great release date for this movie. And considering how Godzilla King of the Monsters underperformed in its release date, I actually think November 20th, or the November of 2020 release date was going to be really, really positive for this film. I don't see this being a good move at all. And I'm so convinced of that it's not a good move at all, that I am left with nothing. Again, no insider information. This is just me speculating. I'm left to think there are more problems with the movie. Again, there's been no official word of that. That might not be the case at all. But I think it is so clear that November would have been a better release date for this movie. And again, don't blame Wonder Woman's now October. It was over a month away from when Wonder Woman is now going to come out. So that wasn't a problem. I am left with no other choice but to suspect that this is a situation of there's more problems with the movie and they need more time. Again, I don't know that for sure, but in no way, shape, or form do I believe that that summer of 2021 is going to be a better date for this movie than November. Anyway, Aaron, that's just me speculating. You see this move again. It's a Warner Brothers property. We're seeing some shuffling going on. What do you think about them moving this, almost 6 months into May of 2021? And do you think that date, being a summer season date, maybe that could work in the movie's benefit? How do you see it?
I love you, John. I completely disagree with you. I saw this news and I said, you know what? That is fantastic. First of all, opening right there around Memorial Day weekend, you're solidifying yourself as the summer blockbuster that everybody is going to be looking forward to. They can go ahead and start rolling out the marketing materials, knowing that at that point, God willing and the creek don't rise, which I used for the second time today, that people will be going back to the theaters. And let's keep in mind, yes, November is a great time for movies to be opening in a normal world, which we're totally not in right now, but we don't know what's going to happen by November. And also for people who are, as they should be, concerned about COVID and specifically concerned about, going back out full-fledged, all the reports are saying that there won't be any sort of vaccine or anything medically for people to feel some level of comfort until at least January. So I think that 2020 is basically a wash. Anybody who is releasing any movies is taking a massive risk, a huge gamble. And for them, I see that as more of a move of, you know what, screw it. Let's just move it to make it our summer blockbuster, not try to compete with everybody that's, pushing 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there. Let's just solidify ourselves as summer 2020 and be done with it and not have to worry.
Rob, you see this? What's their thinking behind this? Do you see benefit? Do you see liability? What are you thinking about this move?
Well, I agree with Aaron in terms of I don't think this was only motivated. I think a lot of it had to do with the Matrix 4. Because with the Matrix 4 shutting down, they just don't have enough time. They didn't have enough time to finish it. This is a huge, big return for a franchise that means a lot to Warner Brothers. And when they realized, well, there's no way this movie's going to be ready by its May date. What can we do? What do we have that's comparable to go into that slot? And I think they looked at, you know what? King Kong versus Godzilla. We're going to have Tenet and Wonder Woman. Hopefully Wonder Woman will still be playing. These are two huge movies for Warner Brothers. Arguably the two biggest movies they've had come out concurrently in a long time. So with that, I think it was natural once Matrix 4 moved off its date that King Kong versus Godzilla is the next biggest movie they slot into that position, because Matrix didn't just move 6 months. I mean, that's an entire year, and they're so confident that they staked out that April. You know, April now is the new beginning of the summer movie season. So now Matrix 4 is kicking off the summer movie season in high fashion in 2022. And King Kong versus Godzilla then gets, as far as Warner Brothers is concerned, a prime summer movie berth that it didn't have before because it wasn't available. So now it's opened up. I think Warner Brothers is pretty high on this movie. I think they've given it already time to be. They tweaked it. You know, it was supposed to come out. When was it? When was the original release date?
I can't remember now.
Yeah, but it was back. It should have already been released. And now they gave it that extra time. So I think they're really high on the film. And that's why they moved it into the Matrix position in 2021, because they figured, you know what, we've got something here. We've got this empty space. We have nothing better. This is how we're gonna kick off our summer movie season in 2021. King Kong versus Godzilla. What's not to love?
So you're basically saying this really wasn't about moving Godzilla versus Kong. This was, we've got that empty May date, we need to fill it. So this wasn't about we need to move Kong. This was about we need to fill that May release date, and they want to move that in there.
Yes, and remember, they're already coming off of two, Tenet and Wonder Woman 84. You can't get any bigger than that. So why not? You've got this other asset, and rather than the Matrix being pushed as some kind of a disaster, we've got something else that's coming on the heels of these two big movies. So it's not like we've lost something. In a way, they've gained something. And right. I think that's what their thinking was.
All right, guys. Well, listen, this creates a really interesting situation because now we've got a number of films that have moved around, and I decided to make that the topic of today's question of the day. And my question of the day to you guys was simply this: which major film that just got delayed last week are you most disappointed about them moving? Are you more worried about Tenet being moved by 2 weeks, Wonder Woman 84 being moved by 6 weeks, Godzilla vs. Kong being moved by 6 months, or Matrix 4 being moved by about a year? I'm surprised. Most of you guys said you're most upset about Tenet moving, which look, I understand it's probably the most anticipated movie of this list, but it was only moving by 2 weeks, so I'm a little bit surprised. So most of you guys said you're most upset by that moving. The next amount, it was at 32%. Wonder Woman 84, 29% are saying you're upset about that moving. 22% of you are more concerned about Godzilla vs. Kong moving by 6 months. Only 16% of you are worried about Matrix 4 moving about a year, and I could really care less if it just dropped off the face of the earth and never played in theaters. But there is that. So that's a little over 3,200 of you guys casted your vote on that. By the way, guys, our question of the day polls are done on our YouTube community channel. Make sure that you subscribe to the John Campea YouTube channel. Make sure you got the notifications coming in so you can see and participate in these polls as well. Question is now for you guys. What do you think about this move of King Kong? We've got three kind of different opinions about why they made a move, but we want to know what your opinion of that is. Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys.